Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Hello,
Hello.
hello, hello, people. Hello, our lockdown
Okay.
friends,
Yay, lockdown
our
buddies.
our cellmates, our fellow
Amigo.
house arrest.
Cellmates.
Yes. Yeah, you can
Yes.
tell. You can tell the lockdown's getting to us because the humor's going to start getting darker and darker. That's how
Friend,
you'll.
depression brethren.
Absolutely, absolutely. Our vitamin D deprived compadres. We can think of lots of these.
So many. That's for a different webinar though. It's for a
Yeah,
center event.
we've got center event surviving.
Oh.
Mm. So guys, welcome. Welcome to this 8 to 10 webinar. My name is Liam. Most of you are probably familiar with me and my usual patter by now, but for anyone who's joining us for the first time, my name's Liam. I'm 30 years old and I come from Manchester in the United Kingdom. But I've lived in Italy for just over 3 years now, and I've lived in Milan for almost exactly 2 years because I can't remember the exact day, but this is pretty much my 2 year anniversary of starting work with
Oh.
Myers, and yeah, strange way
Oh,
to celebrate
congrats.
it. Thank you very much.
Good
And
works.
the person you can see in here with me today is, of course,
Hello, I'm Jadene. I'm also from the UK, but I've only been living in Italy for 6 months. So I'm feeling like the only way is up. This is something we say. things must
absolutely,
things must get better. And I
yes.
think so. The sun is very shiny. I enjoy that. So it's already looking up.
Exactly. And JD, you're in a new place. Very important question. Do you have a balcony or an outdoor area of any kind?
No, well, we don't have a balcony. Instead of windows, they are all doors though. So
Oh.
so they open nicely. There's just no balcony to go out to.
Oh, okay.
um,
So okay, I get you. So it's almost like a kind of Juliet balcony. You can just kind of lean
yeah,
out of it.
exactly. That is nice. And also, where our front door is, it's kind of outside as well. And all of the neighbors have
Ah,
lots of flowers. So
lovely.
kind of like a balcony. Can't sit there, but I can stand there and be in the sun. So it's not bad.
Yeah, we have Anna and we're quite lucky. We have a very small balcony, but you can just about, with a bit of maneuvering, get a couple of the dining room chairs in there. Um,
Perfect.
because it seems criminal to have everyone locked up at a time like this.
I know. But
Um, Even in the UK as well, it's going to hit 26, 27 degrees. I've seen this weekend back home.
I've seen this. Probably not for anyone watching, but for us, this is like going to the Caribbean.
Oh God,
26 degrees in the
this
UK
is
is.
beach weather for
Oh
JD and
yeah.
I, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
This is like get your
In
swimsuit
flip
on, get to the
flops,
beach.
in
Yep,
shorts, and
yep.
our beaches are horrible as well, but they would be packed, which means they would be absolutely full.
But this is because Jadine is from London, and I have to say, this is one of those days when I would love to be in London. Obviously, under different circumstances, because being in London in the summer is one of the, I think, the best places you can be.
Aw. Hi, Alessandro.
Hello,
Welcome
Alessandro.
from
Welcome,
Treviso.
welcome to the Thunderdome.
How are you feeling today? Have you been working today? Do you study? Have you just been relaxing? Let us know.
Yeah, yeah. Let us know, guys. So, as you can see, today's webinar is all about experiences. And probably most of you know that in English, when we talk about experiences, we use a particular type of grammar. All right, and that is what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be, so it's going to be a review of the grammar, but we're going to do it in a fun way because we're going to be kind of talking about some experiences, sharing some stories, maybe
Oh,
some
some
funny or
sharing.
embarrassing things that have happened to us in our
I've got
lives.
I've got plenty of these. So
I've
don't
got,
worry.
I've got
Embarrassment plenty.
far too many of them. Exactly. So yeah, as you can see, guys, this is what we're doing today. So focus activity for today. Okay. Oh, but before that, let's have a look at what Alessandro said. Today he's very well. I studied a bit this morning and now an English lesson. Today here it's sunny and hot, luckily not humid. Yes, very true. I am not a fan of humidity.
No, I have very curly hair, and humid weather is just the perfect kind of scene or scenario for my hair to just go everywhere. Just it's ridiculous.
Like that, if you remember in Friends when they go to the Caribbean and Monica's hair explodes into...
Actually, yes. I related to her a lot in this episode.
I wouldn't even call it an afro. It was just an explosion, basically. Yeah.
It's just bushy. The word we have for hair like
that's good. Yes.
Yeah, is bushy, and it's when your hair is
like a bush.
It just sticks out a lot. It doesn't really have any style to it. Maybe kind of like the 70s or the 80s. Then it was maybe not the 70s, the 80s.
Are you talking about the afro or just big hair in general?
Not the afro. I'm talking about just kind of bushy hair.
Yeah. I think the whole back combing, big hair thing was really an 80s thing.
Yeah. So kind of this sort of style. No clear or defined curl patterns. No sleekness. Just just there.
Go back and have a look at look at the film. Do you know what's always a good indicator? Go back and look at news readers. That's a good way to gauge fashion and hair. Look at what the news readers, because news readers tend to conform to what's in at the moment. So I find that's usually, they're a good barometer of what was in, as we say. If you say what was in English, you mean what was cool. If you say something in, you mean it's cool or it's fashionable.
When hair is inflated.
That's good.
Yeah, we don't usually describe hair as being inflated, kind of blown up, but this is what we're talking about.
Pretty good description, Alessandro. I quite like it. I can imagine if after Jadene one day coming into school and saying, "God, my hair is so inflated today."
Yeah, you'll see it. I wouldn't have to say it. You will know. You'll be able to work it out for yourself.
Now I'm really curious. Guys, what we're saying as well always is be sure to introduce yourselves. Okay, we want to know, like Alessandro did. We would like to know where you're from, how you are, what are you up to, etc., etc. All right, Jadene, as you take a swig of something, I was about to ask you a question. Luckily, I stopped myself then.
That's fine. Just realised my water bottle's empty anyway. Just had
some... Oh, no. Okay, so what are we doing in this focus activity?
So in this focus activity, we are doing revision of the present perfect, using present perfect questions and talking about experiences.
Thank you. Do you understand what Alessandro means here? Elbow cough?
So when you see anything that comes in between two colons, this is an emoji that someone has sent, but it doesn't show up on the computer. So I don't know which emoji it is.
Oh, I didn't see, right. So the computer couldn't translate the emoji.
Yes, so someone once was putting in a group, good vibes, and I just thought it was really funny. Good vibes, good vibes. But it was actually this emoji.
Okay. So I think, Alessandro, you're probably on your phone is what's happened, and your phone has emojis that may be StreamYard or YouTube. Oh, he's dabbing. He's doing...
what was cool?
He's dabbing. Oh.
Now it's crazy. I know exactly what emoji this is, but this emoji is supposed to be an elbow cough.
Well, yeah, because it's like...
How random. But why is that an emoji?
Why is that okay? Now I'm going to look at my phone and see if my phone has this. If I type
I'm sure it does.
No, if I type in DAB, I get a radio. Like DAB radio, digital.
Let's see.
No, mine doesn't do it either, Alessandro. So don't worry. Not just you. I just tried as well. Jadene, you getting anything from it? Mine doesn't work.
No, but I know the emoji. I have seen it before. Anyway.
He's on his PC. He says, I'm on my PC, not a mobile.
don't know. This is so frustrating. Anyway, we'll resolve it at some point,
Yes.
but probably we should continue.
Okay, so guys, quick review of the tenses. You can see that there are 3 sentences on the screen. First one, I've been to the USA 5 times. Second one is a negative, I've never driven a Ferrari, but I'd like to one day. And the third one, I've sailed all over the world. You notice that in the first sentence, when you're talking quickly and naturally, we don't say I've been, okay?
So, hey, Olga, welcome.
Hey, Olga, don't worry. We love you in any level, Olga, because we know that you like to join these no matter what the level. So we're here for it.
Yep. Sorry, carry on, Liam.
No, it's nice to see Olga, absolutely. I was just saying about the pronunciation of the word been. When you're speaking, and usually speaking quite naturally, quickly, you make it sound like been. You know, like I've been to the USA. Okay, it's like a bin sound. I've been to the USA 5 times. Which actually, when I think about it, is true for me. That's actually is. I just thought about it. That's actually true in my case. I've never driven a Ferrari, which is, again, that's very true for me because I can't drive.
Did you write this lesson?
I promise I didn't. I promise I didn't, because I would never want to.
Earlier, guys, he was like, "Oh, I want to do this lesson. I want to do this lesson." Because
I didn't want to. I would never want to advertise the fact that I don't know how to drive. And the last one, I've sailed all over the world. Excuse me. Unfortunately, no, I have never sailed all over the world. Jadene, do any of these sentences apply to you?
No, maybe possibly the first one, because I know that as a child, I was taken to America as well, but I don't really remember it. My dad lives in America, so I don't really remember. Possibly the first. But the second two, no.
Right.
I haven't driven a Ferrari. I don't really want to, though. I'm not really a big car person.
Right.
And I definitely have not sailed all over the world. And Alessandro says, also, I've never done any of these phrases.
Very good. Well, don't worry, Alessandro. They don't really apply to us either. So our question is about a question. Okay. And guys, we'll throw this one over to you. What is the question we use to ask about experiences? So if I want to know if you have done something, been somewhere, eaten something, tried something, what's the kind of standard construction for that question? Again, we know that the connection can be a bit slow and answers tend to kind of cascade through all together, but we will give it a second. Yes, so yeah, not a big driver, JD, but you grew up in London, right? You didn't really need to have a car.
No, exactly. I don't really like, well, I like driving, but other drivers make me anxious. So it's not the physical driving myself, it's the other cars. Yes. I don't really have a lot of experience because I don't drive often.
But you did learn, you did pass your test and everything.
Yes, I have. I've driven, but probably I can count on my hands how many times I've driven a car.
No way. So Alessandro, very good.
Yes, so we have present perfect, but what is the question? So it is in this tense, definitely. But it's kind of like Jeopardy, where we give you the answer and we want to know what the question is.
Solid reference, JD. Solid reference.
Thank you.
So yeah, guys, basically, if you think those 3 sentences at the beginning, been to the USA, driven a Ferrari, sailed around the world, like Jadene said, kind of work backwards. What question would that be to give you that answer? We'll give you a second to answer. Yeah, I know what you mean though about you say that it's the other drivers that are the problem. It's like, when you were a teenager and you started going out with your friends at night and your parents would always say, be careful, and you'd always say, I know I am careful, and they said, we know you are, but it's everyone else that's the problem.
It's true. And I think it's people who are definitely a lot more confident at driving than I am. That in
Right.
London, people are not very patient. They don't like to wait. So they'll go around you, they'll undercut, so they'll overtake, but from the wrong side. They'll do whatever, which is fine for them because they have control of the car. But I am not as comfortable. So it's more dangerous for me. Maybe I'll just stop suddenly. Although I'm not a bad driver. I'm not a bad driver, but internally I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah. London must be actually quite tranquil at the moment because of the lockdown. There must be such a reduction in driving and public transport.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think it would be a really great time to be practicing driving right now.
And the quality of the air as well. The city's probably never been cleaner.
It's true. It's true. Okay, so Alessandro has a question. So this is a very general question. He says, "What have you done in particular?"
In particular.
So the phrase is, we always just use this preposition. So in particular, in your life or with your life. Hi, Marcello. Welcome. Or Marcelo.
Hello, Marcelo.
Where are you from? I see the surname looks a bit Spanish, but I can see an Eiffel Tower in the picture. So
no, you won't know Jadene, but Marcelo's one of our regulars at Merivilli. He's Brazilian.
Ah, okay, cool. Nice
but he's lived in Milan for some time now, but he's originally from Rio in Brazil.
Ah, fantastic. How exciting. But yeah, so going back to Alessandro's question, while this isn't exactly the question we were looking for, you have used the correct
Absolutely.
tense. So the question word what, and then have you, and then you've used done, which is the past participle. So in the example question on the board, it's have you ever, and then the main verb in a past participle. So for the first one, it could be, yeah, well done, Alessandro.
Exactly, so, well done.
Have you ever been to the USA? Have you ever driven a Ferrari? And have you ever sailed all over the world?
Fantastic. And it's good to remember, guys, that there are sometimes little differences. When you say have you ever, using that word ever, you're really emphasizing. What's up?
Sorry, can you say that again? I don't know for anyone else, but for me, you just went really jumpy.
Oh, let me try again. I was just explaining, when you say have you ever, it emphasizes that you're asking about an experience in all of the person's life. Okay? Have you ever is to emphasize that we're talking about a life experience, which could be at any time in history. Because if you just say, have you, and then the past participle, it could be that you're responding to evidence or stimuli that suggests that something is true. For example, if I see Jadene walking home and she's carrying plastic bags full of food, I wouldn't say to her, hey, Jadene, have you ever been to the supermarket? I would say, have you been to the supermarket? Because I can look and I can see the evidence in front of me. The same way that if you go to someone's house and maybe you see, I don't know, it could be some art from a particular country, and you say, oh, that's a very interesting piece of art. Have you been to Mozambique? Because you see it and you recognize it. So when we say, have you ever, we're really focusing on the person's life.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love JT's correction to herself here.
Sorry. No, because sometimes I'm lazy and then I remember I'm an English teacher. People are going to copy me.
No, what I loved as well is that you didn't even just describe it to a typo. You were just like, I was being lazy.
Well,
Very good.
But keep it honest. And Marcelo says, yes, Liam, I'm from Brazil. Yes, we don't need have. So yes, I should change my profile's photo. You don't have to.
Yes.
It's like, keep it mysterious.
Okay, we've got the same sentences here now, but now we've got a different question.
Okay.
So our question here, what tense often, not always, but what tense often follows the present perfect and why. Okay, again, so those of you, particularly those of you who either, if you've done your level 7 and your level 8 grammar lessons, you should be pretty familiar with this because it's one of the big focuses of the grammar in the school, particularly in level 7. It's talking about present perfect and the different grammars that we use with it as well.
Okay.
So again, we'll wait a moment.
And I was just going to say, Liam did also kind of give you a clue, but Alessandra has it. So yes, when we want to be more specific about a time in the past, we use the present simple. So,
well, actually, Alessandra, it's the past simple.
Oh, sorry, it is the past simple.
It's to talk about, because the present perfect talks about the general experience, and then the past simple, as it says here, gives us what we call the specifics or specific details of an experience.
Yeah. Although I think, he's corrected as well, because even to specify something, I think it was just because we're saying present. Don't worry.
Sorry, I'm sleepy. We all are.
Doing nothing makes you tired.
Absolutely. Lockdown is exhausting.
Yes, it is. I think our bodies are preparing to rest. They're not sure what's happening. But yeah, as Liam said earlier, so present perfect is about your whole life. But if you're talking about something specific, so something that's happened in your life, but specifically, then we can use the past simple. Like, have you ever been to Mozambique? Yes, I went last year and I bought this painting.
Exactly. Sorry, I'm just putting up, like, for example, like this, exactly. So if you say, for example, like that, and then you can keep going and explain the other times, for example.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Okay, so I'll just put that up there just to give you an example before we move on. All right. Okay, so, hello. Sorry for the delay. I'm Tiziana from Mestre. Hello, Tiziana. No problem. Don't worry. But remember, Tiziana, we don't say sorry for the delay. You say, sorry, I'm late. Because the delay is before something starts. Late is when you arrive. Okay? So the way to remember it, guys, is your plane is late because it was delayed. That's the way I recommend people try and remember that one. Okay, got an exercise here. Okay, this is about present perfect, and I think Jadene, I'll just make this full screen maybe so everyone can see it a bit better, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so what we see here is we've got 5 sentences, and in each one we've got the verb that we need to use, but we need to decide the correct form of the present perfect to complete the sentence. So maybe Jadene and I can read these before, and then you guys can just post your answers. Just put the number of the question you're answering and your verb for the answer. So question 1, beep. A full English breakfast before, but I'd like to try one.
Question 2. In a private airplane.
Where's your sense of whimsy, Jadene? Come on. Number 3. Beep, to London, but my sister, beep, there before. She lived in Notting Hill for 6 months in 2008.
And we have Christina. Hi, Christina. Welcome.
Hi, Christina.
Don't worry that you are late. You don't need to apologize. We're just doing a present perfect task. So feel free to answer the questions while we read them out. So number 4, beep. Yoga before. I took a class when I was in the Caribbean.
As I'm just going to leave this question up and let you guys decide for yourselves. And number 5 says, I can't believe you beep The Divine Comedy. I read it when I was at university. Beep. Also, beep. Poetry.
Okay, and we've got some
We've got quite a few answers already.
answers. Yeah, exactly. So for number one, but Tiziana and Alessandro have said, although Tiziana has missed out the subject, don't forget we always need to know who is doing the action. But yes, so I have never eaten a full English breakfast before, but I'd like to try one.
Mm-hmm. If you've not, you're missing out.
Definitely.
Definitely. Jadene asked me before if I'm vegan because my girlfriend is, and one of the reasons I'm not is the full English breakfast. Number two, I think Alessandro had this one. And
Tiziana as well.
I think as well, yeah, just checking other people. Very good. Yeah. Have you ever flown in a private airplane? Alessandro again says, I've never been to London, but my sister has lived there before. So if we have a look, so it's I've never been, but my sister has lived, and well done. Okay, very good. So sorry, Christina, just a little thing. The participle of fly is flown. Okay, no, it's all right. Don't worry about it. And also in English, mistake is not a verb. You say I made a mistake in English. You can say I made a mistake. And Jadene's very helpfully put up here, fly, flew, flown. Swim, swam, swum, drink, drank, drunk. Who doesn't love an irregular verb?
So I do think I saw yes, so from Alessandro, number 4. I have done yoga before. I took a class when I was in the Caribbean.
Well done. And then this final one is about, it's with never read and write. Okay, and again, I'm just checking because a few people, I think was it only Alessandro so far has answered that one, and he wrote, you have never read, I have also written. Okay, so I'll just wait and see if anybody else is trying to answer that one, but I can tell you that the first part is indeed, I've never read and I've also written. Okay, but Jadene, can I ask you, number 5, the second sentence, I read it when I was at university. And then the third sentence, I think it would be possible to say, I also wrote poetry, grammatically.
Yeah. No, definitely. I would say I also wrote poetry. Because, because we're talking about a routine that we did, like when we used the present simple, but in the past. So I also wrote poetry.
Yeah,
past simple.
The only reason I asked, just for the confirmation, is that I know that in the past in school, a lot of students, I think correctly, say, but if the person says, when I was at university, the implication is we're talking about a finished action. And so they focus on saying, I wrote poetry when I was at university. And to be honest, when they asked me it, I thought for a moment and said, yes, that sounds good to me.
No, I do. I think it's more correct. Maybe if they said, I've also written poetry in my life, but it does seem like a finished action. And so we use the present perfect to talk about experiences, but also when there's some kind of connection between the thing in the past and the present. So if it's like, I've also written poetry and I plan on continuing, or I plan to do it again, it's because it's not finished. But I think it sounds like this action is finished and the person no longer writes poetry. So I would say I also wrote.
Yeah, they would only say I've also written, I feel like, if they were going to say, like, almost like there's a fourth sentence when they say the words that strike more fear into my soul than any other. Would you like to read some of my poetry?
That's true. I've also written poetry. Would you like to read it? Yeah, but again, it's like something that's unfinished. Like it's something you're still doing.
Yeah. Exactly. Or I've taken a break even. Like, I've written poetry, but I don't, yeah, exactly. It's a bit ambiguous. Also, I just want to correct myself. I wanted to correct myself before. I said mistake is not a verb, but in fact, we do use it sometimes as a verb. For example, when you explain that when you think one thing is something else, so like you might have an absent-minded parent who says something like, I mistake one son for the other. And what that basically means is it's a kind of a way of saying you confuse two things together. So I wanted to just go back and correct myself.
Yeah.
But when you make a mistake with just an exercise, you don't say like I mistake the answer. Mistake is used when exactly like Jadene says to mix two things together. Exactly. Very good. Okay, I think we can, if anybody's got any questions, please let us know, but I think we can continue. Okay, so guys, we should explain that this is a game, and in fact, the name of this lesson is a game. Have you ever, or never have I ever, is quite a popular game in kind of English-speaking countries. We sometimes call it Never Have I Ever. And it's quite a popular game with young people and teenagers where, Jadene, you must have played this, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So the idea is that you, with a group of your friends, you can play it with different things. Sometimes people play it, in fact, they play it sometimes with alcohol, or sometimes you can just play it with like, I don't know, like coins or even like sweets.
Sometimes
Sometimes.
with alcohol. Only sometimes.
Yeah. Only sometimes. We're well ahead of the 9 o'clock watershed. You basically, what you do is you nominate an experience. Okay, so I could say, for example, never have I ever been to Argentina. And then if Jadene has been to Argentina, Jadene could, take a drink, for example. Okay, because Jadene has done that experience, I have not. Okay, so that's kind of the name of this lesson. This game is slightly different. This is when you name 3 experiences. 2 of them are true, and 1 of them is a lie. And what I'll do is I'll just put up on the screen there the example. Okay, so someone would say, I've sung on stage and I've acted in a play and I've been scuba diving. So 3 present perfect experiences. And then say I was questioning Jadene, I would say to her, when did you sing on stage?
When I was 16, I sang in the musical Les Miserables.
Where did you go in Egypt?
I went to Cairo.
I think you've never been to Egypt.
You're right.
Boom. It's a bit like the popular game show in England on TV, Would I Lie to You?
Oh, great show.
Great show. Great show. I love Lee Mack.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't know if Jadene, I mean, you and I could think of 3 experiences and interrogate each other, and the students could even give us, the students could try and guess which one of us is lying about what.
That's true. And you can also tell us your 2 truths and a lie in the comments as well. And we will try to guess which ones are correct, which ones are the truth, and which ones you are just making up.
Yeah, so I'm writing up mine now, guys. Don't worry, this isn't dead air. I'm just typing up. Okay. There's my 3 experiences.
Okay, so Liam says, I have swum in the Persian Gulf. I have lived in 5 different countries, and I've had a drink with Scarlett Johansson. So don't forget, guys, when we talk about drinking or eating, we usually say have. So to have something to drink, have something to eat. And if you don't know who Scarlett Johansson is, you are missing out because she is a great actress.
So true,
So
Jay. Oh, I knew I liked you, Jadene. I knew you were a good egg.
I think I know which one is a lie already.
Okay. So, guys, you can use exactly.
So
Okay,
does
Alessandro.
Alessandra.
But remember, guys, you're supposed to use past simple questions because the idea is combining the present perfect with the past simple. So, kind of. Obviously, we don't have to do this for a long time, but maybe just some interrogatives to see if you can figure out.
Okay, so here we have from Tiziana. When
Ah,
did you drink with Scarlett? Excellent.
okay, Tiziana. I
Wait,
had
hang
a
on, I'm
drink.
putting you back as well. I think they should see your little lying face.
Okay. Well, I can tell you. And by the way, you can look this up to corroborate it if you really want to. I had a drink with Scarlett Johansson when I was in my third year of university. And I went to university in Glasgow. And Scarlett Johansson made a film in Glasgow. It was a horror film called Under My Skin. And it was filmed and set in Glasgow. And because Glasgow is a small city, I learned via social media, among lots of other people, that Scarlett Johansson was in the city in a bar. And I thought to myself, well, I'll never get this chance again. So I went to the bar and I plucked up all of my courage and I approached her and I sat down with her and we talked for a little bit before I could see that lots of other people wanted to speak to her. And then I left.
Okay. So why did you swim in the Persian Gulf?
Because at the time in 2012, I spent the summer of 2012 living in the small country of Qatar.
Okay.
With an ex-girlfriend who happened to live there. So I was spending the summer with her and her family. And one of the things that's nice to do in Qatar is to go out on a boat, and my ex-girlfriend's family had a boat, and we went out into the Gulf, which is the saltiest water I've ever swum in. You have to wear goggles and rinse yourself off instantly because it can be very irritating, especially in the hot sun with the salt on your skin. But it was a really interesting experience.
Okay. I have another question, but I don't know if anyone else does. Alessandro says you are so lucky. I'm not just so lucky, so lucky.
I know, like proper emphasis.
Okay, this was going to be my question, Tiziana. So you could say, where did you live? Or I was going to say, which countries did you live in?
Sure.
Kind of the same.
So, obviously, I've lived in Italy, which is where I live now. I spent I spent about 6 months living and working in Australia. I lived in Great Britain, which is where I was born and grew up. When I was 5 years old, my family, we moved to Canada because my dad got a job there. And also my mother was born there. So my brother and I are both Canadian citizens through our mother. And when I was 8 or 9 years old, we also lived in Ireland for a year because on my dad's side, we're also Irish citizens.
How many countries was that?
5. Canada, Ireland, Britain, Australia, Italy.
Okay, what do you think, guys? And also we have a question from Christina, which says, how many experience, and don't forget, if we say how many, we're talking about more than one. So we say how many experiences, even if the answer is singular, we ask the question in the plural. Did you have, which is okay. But the problem with this question, Christina, is an experience is anything. So an experience can be eating food, breathing air, anything that you can experience or anything that you can try.
Try, exactly,
do. So this question is impossible to answer because it's about everything.
Yeah, it's a bit too broad, unfortunately.
Yes.
Also, there's
So we
no
need to be
verb,
a bit
Christina.
more specific.
Yeah, it needs to be like, how many experiences have you had? It needs a verb at the end of that sentence.
Yeah, so we have already, but that's the auxiliary verb because it's the verb we're using to make it present perfect. So we need a main verb. It just so happens that the main verb and the auxiliary verb are the same in this question.
All right. So, you guys, what was my lie? Jadene, do you want to go for it and tell me which one you think was a lie?
I don't trust any of them. It's probably Scarlett Johansson, but I think it was the Persian Gulf. I think you didn't swim in the Persian Gulf.
Okay, right. Well, in fact, Jadene, I can tell you that I must be a better liar than I thought because that is true. The one that's a lie is that no, I have it. Half of it is true. Like I have never had a drink with Scarlett Johansson, never met Scarlett Johansson, but the part about her being in Glasgow, like on the same night that I was on a night out at university, that is all true. She really was in the city making a film.
The best lies, guys, are part truths.
Exactly.
But so what did you think? What did you all think? Let us know.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I have never had a drink with Scarlett Johansson, but I have lived in 5 different countries and I have swum in the Persian Gulf.
Okay.
Jadene, do you want to give us 3? Have you got 3 in mind? Looking slightly
not really.
Looking slightly mischievous.
I was thinking maybe we could do the next slide.
Sure.
It's quite nice. It's questions for everyone. If there's time at the end, I'll do my 3. Sure.
No, it's you're right. I actually, you're quite right. I forgot about these questions. So you're right. We should look at these.
Okay. So here we have some questions for everyone to answer. While we wait for your responses, Liam and I will also just talk through them ourselves.
I'll tell you what, JD, that was me chuntering on for ages there. So why don't you answer some of these? Because they're probably sick of hearing from me.
No problem. I'll just read the questions out first. So what have you done? And again, this question is really so broad. Which is why we have more specific questions afterwards. But you can also say, what have you done if you're going to tell somebody off or get them in trouble? For example, maybe your mother comes home when you're a child and she can see there's just mess everywhere. She can just say, what have you done? So the context is, how did you make this mess? How many? It's one of those. I know.
It's one of those like dramatic film questions, isn't it? You know, like what have you done?
Exactly. But otherwise, we would never ask this question to a person unless the context is clear. So, number 1, what is the craziest thing you've ever done? Number 2, where have you traveled? Where's the furthest you've been? So the furthest away from where you live. Number 3, have you ever done something romantic? What was it? Number 4, have you ever bought something and immediately regretted your impulse buy? And number 5, have you ever been bungee jumping, skydiving, or scuba diving? If not, would you like to? So, I will start with number 5 because my mind is a bit blank and these kind of give you options. So I have never been bungee jumping. I have been skydiving.
Really?
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you. Not alone though, in a tandem, so with someone there who knew what to do.
Hey, listen, you're still JT. You're a braver man than I am. You would never get me up there.
You'd be surprised. I have been scuba diving, but I can't swim. So I've only been to like the small scuba diving. They call it tri-diving. And you only go, I think, 10 to 12 meters under sea level, which is quite a lot.
That sounds like a lot.
But I wouldn't be able to get a certificate or something because I don't swim.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that you could do that. Like if you can't swim, but you can go under a certain depth.
Yeah, well, they don't really. I think it's because they don't really test you.
Okay, sure.
And you're with an instructor. You're not going deep enough where it's dark, and it's only maybe half an hour, 40 minutes.
Wow. Still very cool.
Thank you. If not, would you like to? I would not like to go bungee jumping. I don't think I would enjoy it at all. I don't think anything about it would be pleasant or nice. So no. I would probably like to learn to swim, and then get a scuba diving license. Though it was very nice.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Very, very dry on the throat. If you need to cough and you become aware of that, it's horrible.
Kind of like now.
So we have an answer from Tiziana for question 1. What is the craziest thing you've ever done?
Is walking in Venice on February with a short skirt under the because it was cold on your legs, right? Because it was so cold. Very good, Tiziana. Okay. Good answer.
Really nice. Yes, there's just a couple of small grammar points though. So the craziest thing I've ever done is walking in Venice, fine, but we say in February because you're not giving us a specific date. If you give us a specific day or date, we then can use on. So you can say walking in Venice on February the 1st. But if we're doing like a general time, so we don't know when in February, then we say in with a short skirt.
That's really good. I like that.
Yeah, you can say under the fog, or you can also say walking through the fog because you're kind of going through something.
Yeah. Under would be maybe if you said like under the clouds, for example, because they're above you in the sky.
Yeah, but if it's at the same level, then we have to pass it in front of us, behind us, to the left, to the right. We're going through something. And never have I ever. Yeah, so Liam has said I have never. But when we play the game, we do actually.
I was going to say that's instantly what I thought of. Never have. It was like, oh. Okay.
Never have I ever been bungee jumping, and I wouldn't like that. So don't forget, we have already the main verb like. We don't need another verb be. But yeah, I wouldn't like that. No, me either.
Me neither. I don't even like roller coasters. I'm a complete wimp.
Really? So we're nearly at the end of the lesson. If anyone has any questions, ask us now. And maybe, Liam, do you want to do a really quick summary?
Yeah, so just things to remember. Basically, the things that Jadene and I pointed out. Remembering that have you ever, with the word ever, focuses on talking about someone's life experience. And also that when we want to talk about the specific details of something, we need to use the past simple. And of course, that also is when you talk about a specific time or a specific date when you did something, you have to use the past simple. All right, Christina's just added maybe what will be our final comment. I've never been bungee jumping, skydiving. I prefer canoeing. And again, Christina, same as Tiziana, I wouldn't like it.
Is it canoeing or canyoning?
Oh, I didn't see. You're right. Good question.
Yeah, either. So canoeing is when you sit in a boat. Canyoning is when you jump from small cliffs or waterfalls into the water.
Yeah, which sounds equally deadly.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you very, very much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Yes. And thank you for all the interaction. It's been
absolutely
lovely.
And if you're celebrating, have a good Easter. If you're not, enjoy the weekend.
Fantastic. Okay, goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.